Hello everyone, this is my reaction to last week's Star Citizen Live Special Edition, A More Stable Universe. This is not a summary, I only talk about things I find important.
We've set the focus of those efforts early with December's letter from the chairman, where CEO and founder of the company, Chris Roberts, stated his intention to evolve both the existing patch release cadence and the content within for Star Citizen away from the previous new feature-laden model and into a more content-driven and stability-focused endeavor. So, sitting here right now, what the hell does that really mean? Does it mean that we wave a magic wand and it all gets better in a single monthly patch like last week's 401? No, of course not. Does it mean holding patches back for 3, 4, 5 months at a time with no new content until there's a perfect release? Not quite, because we still need to make new stuff to feed the beast, and as many of you already know, while PTU and Tech Preview have their valuable and essential uses, they will still never reach the concurrency numbers of Live Alpha. And it is all too often the stresses of that high concurrency Live Alpha that ultimately reveal the true underlying sources of problems beneath for a project like this. So, if patches are going to keep coming no matter what, then what's actually changing this year? So like everything else in Star Citizen, I'm certain this too will continue to expand and mature as we move throughout the year. But in its simplest terms, what this means is pulling engineers and programmers off of a lot of the new fancy feature work they've always been on and putting them on less sexy but more quality of life driven efforts like rebuilding elevators and transit to better work with the realities of server meshing, fixing issues where your hangar eats your ship and your cargo disappears, finally introducing some version of unique item recovery as quickly and as efficiently as we can, and much, much more.
Looks like CRG finally realized that players are not happy about the current very sad state of Star Citizen in year 13. Number of new player accounts is going down a lot. I wish CRG good luck with this, I mean it. However, color me a bit skeptical, this looks more like damage control to me. And waking up in year 13 might already be too late.
So what? No more new features? No. It just means that we're going to continue to work on new gameplay like resource network, crafting, and base building in the background, and do it slower, more deliberately, and with more time to cook.
Jared implying that CRG was ever good at delivering content is strange. Even with CRG's approach to put new content into the game, half-assed at best, never touch it, never improve it, it was not like we have gotten a lot of content from CRG. We are still missing things that were on the roadmap 4 years ago, nowhere to be seen.
And when these new features are ready to do so, they'll go into expanded, dedicated tech preview testing instead of the PU to ensure their functionality and stability.
Oh, that's good. At the moment, we have the buggy, hardly playable Live, we have the more buggy, less playable PTU, we have the even more buggy, less playable Tech Preview. Maybe CRG will put another step into this. How about we are getting a tech preview, so we have 4 steps?
Monthly patches with little to no brand new features causing brand new instabilities, instead full of progressive bug fixes and refactors that will build over time and with new story-driven content primarily utilizing game systems already in place.
CRG is telling us now we are getting monthly fixes. Well, CRG has a long history of telling us fantastic schedules that they never keep.
Did 4.0 have to go out before December? That itself is a decision that was questioned
Sure.
by many people, internally and externally. What is this clock you were talking about?
Well, in this case, it's like our project is different from other game projects in that we need to release the code at some point to be able to move on to bigger projects. And the PTU is a great process for us, but it does have its limits. At some point, we gain nothing from additional PTU builds because things function well at that level of concurrency, and we need way more concurrency to go up. Even when we plan patches, we know at which moments in the PTU will have concurrency, and we try to maximize those. For 4.0, we kind of ran out of gas, of like attention. And so we needed to get this additional hump over the edge to get the technology out, bigger concurrency, and the ability to fix it in order to then plan for the release.
Benoit is just doing what a good employee is supposed to do, protect his company. Actually, I have information that 4.0 was scheduled for March 2025, but US team wanted it to be released in December. Why? So that Chris can say we have now 4.0 with Pyro and server meshing.
And so the new locations in Pyro would actually have a radius of several 100,000 kilometers. And so basically what the result was every game client in Pyro was basically binding a very large part of the environment. And that created the work on the hybrid service, which needs to replicate this data upwards of 15 to 20 megabits per client across.
Megabits,
yeah, which is, in the case of our messaging, is substantial. And so obviously in those cases, interaction lag up the wazoo.
Benoit was talking for a while why Pyro had so many performance issues, interaction delay, etc., etc. However, Benoit made it sound like before server meshing, everything was fine. No, we had massive performance issues, massive interaction delays, massive do-things long before 4.0. We have do-things of players moving on foot at foot speed, sometimes more than a minute. Those were things server meshing was supposed to fix, and now server meshing made it even worse. Why didn't you check your parameters? Why didn't you do a more extensive test in-house? Oh yes, I forgot, CHG laid off a lot of their QE people last year.
You know, there's always a subtext that performance is going to get better if we go server meshing, right? And the reality is the initial test showed that it did not. Now, not because of our assumptions were incorrect, but because, as always, when you don't completely drive on the performance, it tends to get worse.
I would like to mention that it was CHG themselves that told us with server meshing we will fix performance issues. Of course, this is only the first iteration of static server meshing. We will get dynamic server meshing, and dynamic server meshing will fix everything, surely.
Physics is a very big issue for our servers. I've said that before. Not because our physics code is terrible, and in fact, it's great, but we demand a lot from it.
I try to stay nice, I promise, but Benoit talking about physics is so cringe. There are almost no physics in Star Citizen in year 13. No one expects perfect physics or Kerbal physics in Star Citizen, just physics that look alright at first glance. We have nothing like this in the game in year 13. We also don't have any mass simulation yet. Ships, vehicles, racks, containers, everything has the mass of an empty paper bag. This has directly an effect on driving physics. No mass, no inertia leads to a massive oversteering. No feedback for the driver. Ground vehicles just pivot around the center Z-axis. A 70-ton Nova tank on a one cheap planet jumps around as if it would be made out of paper.
Why these 2,900 other bugs and not just 2 or 3 of the ones that would change the lives of hundreds of people, thousands of people?
Well, so I don't do prioritization.
Benoit, you're CTO, Chief Technology Officer, and you don't do prioritization. Prioritization of bugs is pretty much what a CTO is supposed to do. Why is a person who does prioritization not in the Star Citizen live? Is it Chris? Is it no one?
The folks who made ATC aren't here anymore. So ATC has been one of those features that had rotted.
CHG is removing experienced people, for example John Pritchett, but he is by far not the only one, and replace them with cheap, young, inexperienced people. I'm all for giving young people a chance, they need a chance, but they also need experienced people around them who can lead them, but there are not many of those left. And now ATC is one of the old, rotten systems. Wow, I didn't know this. This happens when Star Citizen and Squadron 42 were supposed to get released in November 2014. Yes, 2014. But now in year 13 you have all those old code that no one understands anymore, the people who made it are not working for you anymore, and we have all those problems. You cannot drag out game development over 13 years without keeping your key people.
You know, what Chris outlined in his letter for the chairman is really the direction we want to go, which is to bring back those experts into helping us fix the things that affect the players day in and day out.
This sounds good, right? fixing the problems, the bugs that affect players day in and day out. However, CRG is saying this now for 7 years. Here is a very short compilation.
Epiphany that we've had internally, which is, okay, we need to focus on how the game plays now. We've got to improve the quality of life. We've got to improve the user experience, the UI, how you get into it, make it accessible, ensure that the gameplay right now is polished. We're not there yet, but we are definitely working towards that every single release, and that is a priority for us.
Yeah, Chris thinks we are stupid, Chris thinks we forget. Chris can just play the same hand again. Playability in year 13 is still trash, not even elevators work reliably. And Chris is not wrong, I actually forgot about this, so thank you very much for this screenshot. So I thought maybe I can find more, let's see.
We evaluate where we are, set priorities, and make adjustments while also looking at quality of life issues in the current gameplay.
Are the things that we want to address for quality of life, or things we could do in the game to make the gameplay right now feel better? Because ultimately, the amount of functionality that we have actually in the game right now, if it all works together and works well, is more than a lot of release games. Sea of Thieves just came out, and we have like more variety of missions, hell of a lot more ships, a bunch more stuff that you can do, and a lot more area to play in.
Gameplay is getting a lot of attention this quarter as we are trying to focus on quality of life improvements and upgrades to current in-game systems and features.
Things that we're trying to fix towards 3.5, which are more like quality of life improvements and making sure that it's as bug-free as we possibly can. I think just general fixes and basically quality of life stuff. That's been a major one.
We've had a lot of talk lately about a renewed focus towards quality of life fixes and making the game as it is now more enjoyable, more stable. What can you tell us a little bit about what that plan is for Q4? I know we've got 3.7.1 on the P2 right now. Take us through what you know.
Yeah, so 3.7.1 is up on PTU now. There's definitely, when we went live with 3.7.0, there were some issues, there were some bugs that we definitely wanted fixed, but we wanted to go ahead and get 3.7 out the door. So we're working towards those things, and we're trying to get that live. And then yeah, looking ahead to this rest of this quarter, I think we definitely want to do at least one more point patch, and then we'll obviously have 3.8 at the end of the year. And you're right, like there is a absolute push right now to get more focus on quality of life fixes.
And we've also been shifting to quality of life staggered development, which is, you saw a little bit of that in Alpha 3.7. We're more serious about that. So we've moved the teams to 6-month cycles. We're still delivering patches every 3 months, but the teams themselves get 6 months to work on their features or their content that will go into whatever patch they're sort of designated for.
Is there still a small team working on quality of life bug fixes? The game keeps getting new stuff, but there are still loads of persistent bugs that make playing what we have frustrating.
It's actually company-wide.
Hey everybody, the upcoming 3.17.2 patch looks to bring with it a variety of new gameplay opportunities, bug fixes, and quality of life improvements.
We also have an expectation that teams account for time to address what we call quality of life issues and bug fixing. And so along with the feature development commitments, because we would need to develop this specific feature, we ask for teams to account for unknown unknowns, we ask for teams to account for tech debt, we ask for teams to account for quality of life and bug fixing. And so it's just a matter of what percentage of the team's times are spent on each of those allocations. And often new feature development dominates the team's schedule, but there are times where we pull those levers around and we say, okay, we're going to need to spend more time on quality of life this quarter, or more time on bug fixing, or more time on tech debt.
So in December, Chris published a letter from the chairman. The sentiment many of you have shared, and one we wholeheartedly agree with, is that if the current game, as it stands today, ran smoothly with fewer obstacles and bugs, it would provide an unparalleled experience.
Actually, no. Gameplay is boring and repetitive. Missions are boring and repetitive. Every bunker, every distribution center looks the same, just copy and paste it all over planets and moons. In 2024, CRG introduced Master Mode, which made flying one of the things that were actually fun in Star Citizen boring and tedious. In 2024, we got a new UI, HUD, and MFDs that were only made for the cool cinematic look. Usability played no role. This is one of the worst UIs I've ever seen in any game. In 2024 we got item banks, which are not any more realistic or immersive than local inventory, but a lot slower to use, making the game even more tedious. Last year, CRG replaced the fantastic skybox we had and gave us a clean, murky universe in Stanton. Star Citizen is time sync galore, time syncs on top of time syncs on top of time syncs, and more coming, for example, Death of a Spaceman. Of course, Star Citizen is a space game. I'm not supposed to teleport everywhere in a split second, and I don't want to, but if I want to watch paint dry, I watch paint dry. If I want to play a fun and interesting game, I don't play Star Citizen.
One of the things that we don't do, that a lot of MMOs do, is have that regular Tuesday downtime or something like that. And those are the times where those things are necessary for other games. Is this something we've considered?
Yes, that's what we're trying to prepare for now, is to have an official maintenance window.
Very interesting, almost every MMO, even games like Diablo 3 have a maintenance window to clean up the servers and to put in small patches. And now CRG realizes they need this too. I like this very much, but maybe a bit late.
Hangers. All right. Failing to spawn ships correctly. Platforms getting stuck. Ships being destroyed while they're stored.
Right now, for example, over 90% of all claims in the verse are for ships that have not been destroyed.
Once again, it's pretty much evident that CRG employees, Richard Tyra, are not playing their own game. Why do we have so many claims of ships that are not destroyed? Let me think. Maybe because this game in alpha still has lots of bugs, lots of very game-breaking bugs. I'm not complaining, it's an alpha, but most of the time when I claim my ships, it's because of bugs.
For the folks that are still in the chat saying, please just give us staircases, the hangars are instanced. The stairs would just still go to, the elevator is a portal between the real world and your instance world. Even if you spent 5 minutes going up and down stairs, you would still have to hit a portal where you have to queue and push a button and it makes a portal for your thing. It's the same thing. An elevator is just the mechanism. Stairs don't solve it, unfortunately.
Yes, stairs to your personal instant hangar won't fix anything because it's instanced. However, there are way too many elevators in Star Citizen. For example, Lowville, going from Metro Station up to Aesop, no elevators, just stairs. On the other hand, no Burbage, Orison, there are elevators between Metro Station and Aesops. There is no need for this. CRG is throwing stairs at us like candy. We have stairs at a clinic exit in a space station where you would have total freedom of architecture. But where it counts, stairs to bypass elevators, some elevators, not elevators to your instant hangars, no stairs to be found.
You know, we get all these cool things. You get cool things packaged in with your pledge purchases or whatnot, and then you're too afraid to wear them. You're too afraid to use them because you fall through one planet. You fall through one lousy planet, and you lose it forever. We're not going to go into it here because there's another show dedicated to it, but that is absolutely prioritized this year. It's prioritized in a way that I've never seen it prioritized. The talk is stopped and the work is starting. So we've got a signed off design and people are on it right now.
CRG is talking about unique item recovery, subscriber gear and items you bought with real money since we got inventory system and 3.15. I'm very curious with what solution CRG comes up with.
We have started the engineering work with the new Starscript Foundation to rethink how missions are made.
This is exactly one of the reasons why I stopped watching Star Citizen live. Well, now I have to again. I always get the impression here we have 1 to 4 guys, they want to make a space game, they are just starting brainstorming. But we are in year 13 and CRG is at almost $1 billion. This happens when a game studio doesn't have a plan, never thinks at once, and never thinks things through. Reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks.
Focus on validating the issues. It's like, yeah, we fixed this. Okay, let me try transition 1, 2, 3, 4. Like more, I don't want to say more QA, but more QA. We need a lot more QA to validate the fixes.
Interesting. So why did CRG lay off a lot of QA people last year? Are we, the players, now your QA department?
There was a bug that caused everybody in a given mission to get the reward for the missions, right? So that means if a mission payout was 10K, then everybody would get 10K, everybody participating.
It was amazing.
Well, so
Loved it when that.
so the funny bit is I talked to Rich Tyler about it, and he's like, I couldn't catch it before they fixed it. That's what I want. And so ultimately, it wasn't exactly what we wanted, but that's the direction we want to go in. We want to encourage you guys to play together.
This is very good news. This is the oldest trick in the book. If a game wants players to play together, increase mission payouts. Very good news. I wish CRG very good luck with their new approach to concentrate on fixing bugs and playability. This means less new content, which I'm fine with, if CRG is working on playability and fixing bugs. However, we are hearing the same song and dance since 2018. Why should things be different this time? I am very willing to give Chris more money to buy more ships, but I need to see facts, not some fantastic statements. Also, maybe this game is too complex to ever run smoothly. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
This, I think everyone does get along better. We know each other now from the first one, and we're having a really good time.
By the way,
Yeah, for the silent stuff, I should be listening to you like.
yeah, it's Lando.
Yeah. Good point. He's not saying anything, but I'm just the emanation of the direction just comes out, so I'm just feeling it. Let me.
Frame you like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost got arrested
Okay.
for feeling it like that last night.
Okay. Yeah. Until I. Yes. Let me fluff your aura, just so you feel better. He feels so much better when you fluffed his aura.
I mean, I'm talking about the
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.